Some people travel to check places off a list, but the best way to understand a city is simply to walk for a while. This is Salzburg. There are a few things that shape how you experience a city, like walkability, how it feels to move through the streets, street life, the rhythm of everyday life, and places to pause where the city lets you breathe for a while. Those things together, that's the Travel Without Chaos Index. 3 dimensions, each one scored out of 5. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how Salzburg scores. The Salzach runs straight through Salzburg. The old town sits on the left bank, and because the mountains are so close, the city doesn't spread out evenly. It follows the river. And as you start walking, you recognize different parts of the city, not by name, but by how they feel. 3 areas worth knowing. Altstadt, the Baroque old town on the left bank, pedestrian lanes, domed churches, Festung Hohensalzburg above. This is the Salzburg most people probably come to see. Mönchberg, the ridge that rises directly from the left bank. There's a lift, but also a path. From up there, you suddenly see how small and close everything is. The right bank, Mirabellplatz, Linzergasse, and further out towards the station there's less postcard and more everyday. If you start with these, Salzburg is easy to get to know. Walking in Salzburg is easy from the start. The old town is made for walking and it's easy to read straight away. River, ridge, fortress, you know where you are. The city doesn't ask much of you at the start. But what happens when you keep walking is more interesting. Leave the Altstadt, cross the river, and everything changes. The right bank is wider, more ordinary. Pavements, shops, people with somewhere to go. It's less polished, more lived in. And when you turn back towards the water, the view opens, the old town on the left bank and the mountains behind it. But there's one thing, the bridges across the Salzach all share the same problem. The crossings feels too narrow for the number of people using them, a recurring friction and more noticeable the busier the day gets. In Getreidegasse, the main shopping street through the old town, when it's full it feels more like a corridor than a street. Stepping off it is worth doing. Here are a few places worth knowing for walking. Across the river around Linzergasse, still old and narrow, but shops with doors open and people moving at an everyday pace. Along the Salzach from Staatsbrücke, the old town on one side and the hills closing in on the other. And climbing up towards Nonnberg, a few minutes and the streets narrow, the sounds fade and the city laid out behind you.
Salzburg has more than one face. The longer you walk, the more of them appear.
start in the Altstadt, the streets are genuinely beautiful, narrow lanes, baroque facades, and the fortress above the rooftops. A lot of visitors, and the pace reflects that. And even if it feels staged at moments, it still works, because it's beautiful, it's really beautiful. Cross the river and the pace changes. Linzergasse, the main street on the right bank, it's lively. Cafes, restaurants, people at tables outside. But the atmosphere is more everyday. The pace feels more local. And then Mirabellplatz, a large open square just across the river. There's a market there as well, local vendors, people buying fruit, vegetables, cheese and fish. Regulars who seem to know each other, nobody performing anything, it's just an ordinary Tuesday morning. And if you're anything like me, you'll find yourself wanting to walk a little further each time, just to see what the next layer looks like. Here are a few places worth knowing for street life. One street back from Getreidegasse around Steingasse, same stone underfoot, but quieter, with doorways people actually use. Mirabellplatz Market, the most everyday thing Salzburg has, stalls and people buying food in the morning. And Linzergasse across the river, old shops at a different pace, people stopping and speaking to each other. This is where Salzburg stands out. The pauses here don't feel planned. You don't really go looking for them. You pass them and then you stop. And even in the Altstadt the pauses appear unexpectedly. A courtyard off a side street. The fountain at Mozartplatz, the main square in the old town, catching the afternoon light. The space in front of the cathedral, larger than you expected. You'll feel it the moment the view from the ridge opens up. For a moment you just stand there. And that's what Salzburg does well. It puts small pauses in your way and you don't have to plan for them. Here are a few places worth knowing, for places to pause. Mirabell Garden, paths, flowers and benches, the fortress above everything, a pause that feels built in. Higher up on the Kapuzinerberg, old town, river and hills in one clear frame, this is where you stop because the view settles something. And a bench by the Salzach, nothing famous, just a river putting a little distance between you and the city. So, what's the score for Salzburg on the Travel Without Chaos Index? For walkability, it's strong. The old town is immediately easy to move through. The right bank, the hillside paths, the quieter streets beyond the tourist routes, that's where walking here gets more interesting. The bridges are a recurring friction point though, it's worth knowing before you arrive. Street life, it's layered. The Altstadt is beautiful and busy, genuinely so. But the market of Mirabellplatz, Linzergasse, the streets near the station, each one adds something to the layers. The longer you walk, the less Salzburg feels like only the old town. And for places to pause, this is where Salzburg stands out. Waterfront walls, hillside paths, unexpected courtyards. You find them wherever you are in the city, not just in the obvious places. Salzburg is easy to underestimate on arrival, but give it a few more hours than you planned, and the city quietly opens up beyond the postcard. Have you been here, or do you live here? I'd love to hear.